Get ready to be amazed by the power and innovation of SpaceX's latest rocket technology. The Raptor 2 engines are indeed a sight to behold, and they'll be used to power the company's massive Starship mega rocket and Super Heavy boosters. With a whopping 33 Raptor 2 engines powering each Super Heavy rocket and 9 powering the Starship itself, these spacecraft are sure to soar to new heights. And the best part, the Raptor 2 and the Starship and Super Heavy are built to be reused, just like SpaceX's proven Merlin engines on their Falcon 9 rockets. This means that the company can continue to push the boundaries of space exploration without breaking the bank on constantly building new engines. But the Raptor 2 isn't just an upgraded version of its predecessor, it's a whole new beast. Instead of running on the traditional mixture of liquid oxygen and rocket-grade kerosene, the Raptor 2 is powered by liquid methane and liquid oxygen. This represents a significant shift for SpaceX and will surely have impressive results. Overall, the Raptor 2 is the result of years of research and development, and it's clear that SpaceX is dedicated to constantly improving and advancing its technology. As a space enthusiast, you won't want to miss the exciting things that are sure to come from this innovative company. Alpha Centauri, 4.37 light-years from Earth, has the nearest star and planetary system to Earth. However, with today's technology, the trip would take a human around 6,000 years. Distances between our solar system and Alpha Centauri, as well as those between other exoplanets and our own, are so great that we need to invent a new means of interstellar space travel. Could we go to the neighboring stars? To what extent does NASA aim to use rockets to reach these distant worlds? This video delves into NASA's proposed light-speed trip to Alpha Centauri. Beyond Earth lies humanity's destiny, and it is up to our generation to lay the groundwork for that journey. The above map of our galaxy was made by the European Space Agency, ESA, using the most recent data from the Gaia spacecraft to determine the luminosity and location of over 1.7 billion stars. About 100,000 light-years separate the stars in our Milky Way. At light speed, it would take 100,000 years to go from one end of our galaxy to the other. Ridiculous. That's the shortest route across in a straight line. In a standard rocket, it would take hundreds of millions of years to travel the actual distance that the Milky Way's disk encloses. Despite the vastness of the Milky Way, the survival of humanity on Earth is contingent upon its expansion into the cosmos and the colonization of other worlds. It's only a short time before man-made or cosmic threats wipe out most or all life on Earth if we don't embark on this tragic journey. Some kind of catastrophe will afflict our planet in the next several thousand years, whether it be a nuclear war, a biological pandemic, a huge asteroid impact, a supernova explosion, or a gamma ray burst. This inevitable event must be planned for now before a catastrophe such as a supervolcano eruption or a high-energy solar flare decreases humanity's ability to do so. On July 20th, 1969, we took that first small stride when the Apollo 11 lunar module slipped into the moon's gravitational pull. The first humans to set foot on another celestial body were Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. Several initiatives are currently under progress to further our exploration of the cosmos. The most important of these is building settlements and cities on Mars. The process of colonizing Mars will serve as proof that humans can adapt to environments far different from Earth. NASA and the commercial company SpaceX are the frontrunners to be the first to take humans to Mars. By 2030, Elon Musk's SpaceX hopes to have sent the first humans to Mars with the intention of establishing a permanent population there by the year 2100. A NASA researcher has come up with plans for a crazy new rocket engine that could travel nearly as fast as light without burning any fuel. The hypothetical vehicle could transport people to Mars in less than 13 minutes, and to the moon in just more than a second. NASA engineer Dr. David Burns claims that the true goal of the alleged helical engine could be to travel to faraway stars far more quickly than any known technology. The proposal was first presented by Burns of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama in a confusing document published on the agency's website. Getting people to Mars and beyond will require tons of propellants like liquid hydrogen to be used in modern rockets, like those developed by NASA and SpaceX. The concern is that adding fuel to the craft will make it heavier. Propeller tanks of today are just too cumbersome to take on interstellar journeys. The helical engine sidesteps this problem with the use of sophisticated particle accelerators like the Large Hadron Collider in Europe. Electromagnets shoot off a stream of tiny particles at high velocity, which are then recirculated and shot again. If the engine could take advantage of a quirk in the rules of physics, then it might be able to achieve speeds of about 297 million meters per second, as proposed by Dr. Burns. The device is currently only an idea, and its viability is uncertain. For the sake of illustration, Burns imagines a box with a weight inside, threaded on a line, and a spring at each end bouncing the weight back and forth. This would cause the entire box to jiggle in a vacuum, as if it were stabilized around the weight, but the weight itself would appear to remain immobile. In general, the box would continue to jiggle in the same place, but if the weight were to grow in only one direction, it would provide more of a push in that direction, giving it more forward momentum. The basic principle behind the engine's operation is based on the fact that mass is transformed into a different form when traveling at the speed of light. Dr. Burns offers a conceptualization in his work that portrays a ring inside a box, linked at each end by a spring. In accordance with Newton's third law of motion, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. The box will rebound in the opposite direction when the ring is sprung in one way. The engine accelerates ions confined in a loop to moderate relativistic speeds, and then varies their velocity to make slight changes to their mass. The engine then moves ions back and forth along the direction of travel to produce thrust. Burns explained in his paper, the helical engine functions by taking advantage of the relative speed at which mass may change. However, the rules change slightly if the container and the spring are moving at the speed of light. At those velocities, the ring will gain mass as it nears the end of the box. As predicted by Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, this means that it will have more momentum when it reaches the end of the box and makes a harder impact. In reality, the engine's use of a particle accelerator and ion particles will do the same thing. But you get the idea. In Dr. Burns' estimation, the design can generate a thrust of up to 99% the speed of light without violating Einstein's theory of relativity. Although the plan is well-intentioned, it does go against Newton's rule of motion and thus the physical laws. That's not the only issue stopping the helical engine from taking off. According to Dr. Burns, it needs to be 650 feet in length and 40 feet in width to be effective. Additionally, the gadget could only be used successfully in the zero-gravity conditions of outer space. It may sound far-fetched, but ideas for engines that don't require rocket fuel have been offered previously. The EM drive is one example. It's a device that in theory could use electromagnetic radiation to power a rocket's thrust. In the end, it became clear that this concept could never work. So, can it actually work? The helical chamber would need to be quite sizable, as reported by New Scientist. About 12 meters or 40 feet in diameter and 200 meters or 650 feet in length. In addition, in order to generate 1 Newton of thrust, it would require 165 megawatts of energy production. That's as much energy as a power plant would need to generate to accelerate 1 kilogram of mass by 1 meter per second squared. So, a lot of effort for a very small result. It's incredibly ineffective. But amid the vastness of outer space, it could be very successful.